Siomra.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Tiny Room for episode 103. Is it 104? 103 of Michael and Benjamin's podcast.
Nailed it.
I am the Michael of the Michael and Benjamin's podcast. And I am joined by the man who... Oh, damn it. I can't say the thing I wanted to say.
No, it's
I'm joined by
racist.
Ben. Ben, he's a good egg.
Yeah. By the way, for anyone that doesn't understand what happens, and the reason I laugh every time that Michael starts an intro is he pauses like a wax dummy, frozen.
Yeah.
And for the 10 seconds we have for sound quality, and he just lights up like some kind of possessed mannequin. And it's bizarre. He gets a big smile on his face because he's podcasting.
I'm doing a podcast!
And it's very unsettling to watch. It's like watching Zoltar come to life and
like
grant Tom Hanks' wish.
Some sort of fuck it. Do the theme music.
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have any theme music, but I hope someone will mix them up for us. I don't wanna name any names. Rachel, I hope it's Rachel.
Caught you off guard there, didn't I?
I did it just fine.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
It is a busy week this week, so we better let us forge on with it. And first of all, let us forge on with the fact that Zack Snyder is happy enough that Robert Battinson is going to be Robert Battinson.
Yeah, Z Snides is on board. He's on board. Robert Pattinson is officially our next Batman Bruce Wayne.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm done having the oh my god, how can you even say, because the superhero movies are just, we're in that phase where we can do what we like with superhero movies.
Do what you want. Ben, even if you couldn't do what you like with superhero movies, I still think Robert Pattinson is a good choice.
I think he's a good choice. Also, Tom King already fucked him in the comics. This idea of the one
My
true
friend
Batman.
Tom King?
No, not your friend Tom King. Although he may have fucked Batman. I don't know. We'll have to ask Tom King.
He probably would be able to. He's
He
very
probably
good.
would. He's very
Very-
from what I've been told, quite a bit of physical prowess going
Very
on.
good at jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well then, join us next week when we take a look at Who'd Fuck Batman.
You're very hoarse today,
Who's
Ben.
on top? I am. Pollen Michael strips me down.
Oh, no.
Strips me down.
Are you as allergic to pollen as you are to the internet's allergy to Tom King's writing of Batman?
Yeah, about the same.
Yeah, but
about the same.
But he's going to do Batman and Catwoman.
Yeah, they're removing him early from the Batman line, though. That's one of the interesting things that's happening is he's departing early from the Batman line, but he's being allowed to do Batman Catwoman. I don't know why you would allow the man who is responsible for the greatest load of horse shite in Batman history, where they hyped up a whole wedding and then gave
You're
us
so angry, Ben.
nothing. No.
You used to love Tom King's Batman run.
No. But then one internet comment
Oh,
made
crimey
me go
peeps.
back. Oh, crimey peeps. Went and he pointed out to me exactly what Tom King does wrong with Batman. I've never been able to unfuck it.
You're going with that, are you?
Fucked Batman.
Oh, God. Right. Okay, let's move on then. Ben,
Yeah, come on.
there were an overwhelming amount of new nerd things on the televisual entertainment device this week.
The telly box.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to watch most of them because I had to do some research for our main topic.
But you're dedicated to the podcast, you see.
Benjamin, did you watch the new DC streaming service Swamp Thing?
I didn't. I did watch the extended sneak preview
Right.
of Swamp Thing.
Very good.
Very discomforting.
Is it?
It's good horror. But it's full horror. It doesn't seem like we're going to get a heroic kind of emergence. It looks like it's just going to be a horror thing.
He's just a man who'll kill a man, but he's made of the plants.
He's made out of the plants. Well, I think he's there to tackle the rot. A couple of weeks ago, Michael, we covered all the different forces that run through the DC universe.
The Speed Force.
The speed force, the strength force has been introduced.
The
But then
green.
you've got the green, you've got the red,
Yeah.
you've got the flesh, I think it's called, for the animal. Just a terrible name.
The red, white, and blue.
Yeah, the red, white, and blue, but only if you're a patriot. But yeah, the rot is kind of the elemental balancer to the green. The green is life, and the rot is death, obviously.
Oh, like Papa Nurgle in Warhammer.
Yeah, a little bit
Except
like that.
he's both.
Okay, that's weird.
Fecundity.
What's fecundity?
The prevalence of life.
Oh, I thought it was a new fictional African universe from Marvel. Wakanda and fecundity.
No, it's neighbouring. It's slightly less advanced.
But anyway, it looks like he's going to be taking on the rot, and the rot is basically taking control of whatever swamp he's currently swamping his thing in.
Not his swamp.
Yeah, his swamp.
Oh,
His
he's in
swamp.
Florida, isn't he?
There's an Alec Holland there. That's going to be interesting. There's going to be a big twist, I'm sure. They might do the traditional Alec Holland twist. When Alan Moore took over the Swamp Thing line, he removed Alec Holland as an alter ego.
Who's Alec Holland, Ben?
Alec Holland is the original Swamp Thing. He was the scientist who was absorbed by the Green, but it wasn't the Green at that time. He was an experiment. Alec Holland is a great Bruce Banner ripoff.
Oh, he's great. He's Bruce Banner,
yeah,
but for plants.
but with chemicals and planty stuff. And he became Plant Hulk.
But
Plulk.
isn't every DC character a scientist who was making a formula and then fell into a thing and became that thing, kind of?
You could say that equally of many Marvel things with technology. The scientist who was working on a project and then mishap.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, superpowers. But anyway, what Alan Moore did when he came onto the character was he really embraced the horror element of that, the body horror, the transforming thing. And it turns out that Alec Holland was completely erased when he was absorbed by the Green.
Yeah, he was just killed.
But the Green uses his memories to build a kind of construct of consciousness.
A swamp thing.
A swamp thing, if you will. But that's the big twist in the Alan Moore run, is that Alec Holland is no more. And anyone who was in love with him prior to Swamp Thing has been loving a plant that has nothing to do with Alec Holland.
But we don't know if that's what it's going to be. This
We
isn't.
don't know.
It isn't the same universe as Doom Patrol, and
No.
Isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Well, it hasn't been. But like, I would imagine it is. They're taking great strides to build Doom Patrol. Oh, what a season!
Very good.
It finished up last week. So good.
Yeah, it's very
Michael.
good overall, wasn't it, Penn?
Just so strong throughout. Just a fucking great series.
Only one or two kind of slightly duller episodes,
Yeah.
but it was very.
Season 2 has been confirmed, so I'm delighted.
It was very strong.
It's very interesting to see DC kind of plow ahead with this brand new way of doing their shows. They, as I said, we are living in a kind of more experimental superhero era, and it seems to be the post-Endgame effect, where now we have to start coming up with new stuff and doing new things, and DC's a little bit ahead of that TV-wise.
DC's way ahead TV-wise.
Yeah.
Like, just look at the... Well, Marvel... There's still Legion. Legion is still there. Legion's still
Legion's
good.
coming back.
Legion's coming back.
Season 3 trailers
24, June 24th.
Do I care about Legion anymore?
Yes.
Do I?
Yeah, I think you do.
Cool.
I think Legion is one of those shows where you're never that excited about it, but then when you put it on, you go, actually,
This is fucking great.
that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't going to be good. I didn't really want to watch it, but then I watched it and I
It was
thought,
very fucking good.
you know what, that was good. I'm glad I watched that.
So it's interesting to be in this kind of new superhero
It wasn't that
adaptation
good, but
thing,
then I thought it was.
where you used to say that about me. Ben wasn't that good. He's still not that good, but he's pretty good on podcasts.
You stopped shouting in the mic,
Pretty
which
much
is
what
nice.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Benjamin,
It's a whole therapy thing.
speaking of post-Endgame twists, I think I figured out what happened with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's just shit and you've given up.
It's its own thing.
Don't you fucking use my line
It's its
and
own.
try to save your fucking
It's-
dead property.
It's its own thing. It's doing what it can. I reckon that obviously there's no communication between Marvel TV and movies. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is set a year after Endgame. Or what they thought was going to be a year after Endgame. Because they probably just assumed, as we all did, that Endgame would somehow find some way to undo the snap.
And
But
everything would be
stay,
fine.
and everything would go back to normal, but stay in that timeline.
Wrong.
Not jump 5 years in the future.
Oops.
So they took a punt, I think, and the punt missed.
Why would you not? Why would there be no cross communication for that?
Jeff Loeb,
Fucking Loeb.
Ikey Perlmutter.
Fucking Ike Perlmutter.
There's a
Pearl
worst.
Mutter fucker. Hey?
That's probably enough.
Yeah, but anyway, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be terrible. Moving on from there to something that isn't terrible, Michael.
Go on.
Amazon Prime launched something very near and dear to my heart this week. Good Omens, the TV series with David Tennant.
And it's not
and
terrible.
Michael Sheen. It's excellent.
I saw an interview with Michael Sheen the other day where he was asked, was your fat suit comfortable? He's like, he's not wearing a fat suit, he's just put on a bit of weight.
He's just put on a bit of weight. He's an older man. He's
He's an older gentleman, he's not a young, svelte Tony Blair anymore.
bit harsh, like a bit harsh to be asked that. But very good. It suffers a little bit from too much going on, but the book suffered from that as well. For anyone that doesn't know, Good Omens was a book by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman.
Gay man.
I think it was very much Terry Pratchett's humour combined with Neil Gaiman's talent for writing and world building.
And doing a twist.
Twisty twist. And it's a very famous kind of book, a very, very popular cult classic kind of book. And now it was attempted as a terrible adaptation by Sky One when they had all the Terry Pratchett rights. And now big bad at Amazon has come along, swinging their big cash around, and they've taken it back, and it's very good. I've only seen episode 1, so that
Did they, Ben, to use the parlance of the time, did they drop the whole series in one go, or are they doing it week by week?
It's a full series drop.
Why didn't you watch the whole thing then?
Full series drop. I didn't have time, Michael.
The people, Ben. The people want
Michael,
to hear.
We have lives.
Oh yeah.
Michael, we're also coming into the busy period in that industry that we both work in that we never talk about.
Yes.
So, you know.
You've made us sound like prostitutes there, Ben. Well done.
It's the busy period.
Yeah, we're sex workers.
Yeah, and look, it's very enjoyable. David Tennant is, as usual, one of the best things about the thing that he's in. Looking forward, like, he's great. He's just very enjoyable. Michael Sheen's doing a bang-up job. He's great. There's lots of cameos.
Does he play Tony Blair if Tony Blair was an angel?
No, he plays a very nice person if a nice person was an angel. There's no Tony Blair-esque about him. That's not right. But he's decidedly not Tony Blair. John Hamm is in it.
John Hamm?
As the angel Gabriel.
Does he go ham on anyone?
He probably will at some point.
Good.
Frances McDormand is in it as God.
Frances McDormand is playing God,
she's the voice of God, eh? And she's in there. Look, it's very enjoyable. The child actors are very good.
No, they're
good.
not.
There's a very sexy witch that
There's
you'll enjoy. Anathema
There's
Device.
a sexy witch, Ben.
Anathema Device is very sexy.
I'm going to watch it now,
yes,
Ben.
you are.
The
You're going to
podcast.
pause the podcast.
Didn't realise there was a sexy witch.
Enjoyable English comedian Jack Whitehall is in it.
I do not like Jack Whitehall.
That's fine. Then you probably won't like his role in it either.
He's too tall.
He's too tall.
He's
he makes
too
me
tall
feel
and
uncomfortable.
too smug.
He's not smug in this at all. He's actually capable of acting, as it turns out.
Oh.
Look, it's a very enjoyable series. I'm looking forward to seeing it unravel. Noted Irish character actor is in it, whose name I can never remember, but you do see him walking around town very often. He's
I know
very
who you're talking
scraggly guy.
about. Oh, yeah. No, I have no idea who you're talking about.
He's doing a great bit of work. I'll find
Who
it
is
for
he?
you, and I'll show it before the end of the...
Look, this can be a fun game that we play where
I'll
you
come back
try
in.
and describe him to me, Ben.
I'm going to say his name is Peter.
Peter...
Look, I'm going to look it up now. You're going to spin your wheels
Peter,
saying
who we
why
know.
you might watch this.
Ben, I'm going to watch it because you've just told me there's a sexy witch in it. And to be honest,
I'll show you the sexy witch as I show you this.
that's enough for me, Ben. But Benjamin, is it better than the Sky One efforts at a Terry Pratchett?
Yeah, 10 times.
Because I never enjoyed any of those.
No,
to
they
be
weren't very
brutally
good.
honest with you. Is it in the vein of an American Gods, or is it a bit more light and fluffy?
Oh, way more light and fluffy. Very humorous, but good humorous. Like
Okay.
humorous with stakes. It doesn't feel farcical.
Like someone gets a smack in the face with a steak and they go, "Oi!
Oh,
I got a bit
how
of
silly. It's a strong contender for a good series. I'm going to watch some more when I go home now, and
very good.
you'll be able to tell me if I'm right or wrong, and you can take a look at the sexy witch and tell me. But it's a bit of an all-star English-American fusion cast. There's Anathema.
I know, Ben. We wanted to see the bloody.
Very sexy witch.
We wanted to see the man
and
that
his
we
name
don't know.
is Niall.
This is good, isn't it? This is good.
Dennehy. Niall Dennehy.
Never heard of him. Give us a look
Niall
at him.
Dennehy is the gentleman there in the black and white.
That says Ned, Ben.
Ned Dennehy. Thanks. Ben's retractions. Instantaneous Ben's retractions. But you will see this gentleman knocking around town all the time. He's a noted Irish character actor. He's been in lots of different things. Good Omens being the latest one. He's in Peaky Blinders, but who hasn't been in Peaky Blinders?
You.
I actually have been in Peaky Blinders.
Oh.
I play victim number 2 in episode 3 of season 4.
Oh, very good.
He was in Mandy. He was in he was in many of the specials for Blade Runner. The little mini movies that came out before the new Blade Runner.
Was he a
But
robot?
anyway, look, Good Omens. It's good.
You know what else is good, Ben?
Go on.
Or, well, actually not good.
Oh.
Absolutely terrible,
Well,
but
change
very, very engaging, very interesting. I've been watching the TV show Chernobyl, Ben.
Oh God, oh no.
It's very, very, very good, Ben.
I don't want to be sad, Michael.
It's not terribly sad. Episode 4 is there's aspects of episode 4 that are hard to watch, but by gosh, is it gripping! If you are any sort of fan of science fiction, Ben, I got a bit flurry there when I said science fiction.
Yeah, I know.
If you're any sort of fan of science fiction, Ben, that's hard to
Smell
say.
toast.
It's because I was too close to the nuclear reactor.
Check here.
If you're any sort of fan of science fiction or kind of post-apocalyptic or alternate history grimness or something like that.
Is it alternate history?
No, it's a true story.
No,
it's a true story, but it's the most terrifying science fiction thing that has ever happened in the real world.
Oh.
And it's much more terrifying. And now, there's aspects of it which are dramatized for sure, but it was very dramatic happening in the real world. And it's...
It's kind of been brushed over in terms of historical stuff. We kind of look at it as a you know, it was a big event in that it was a big nuclear thing, but you don't really get that human aspect of it in history of
Well,
impact
Ben,
or overall impact.
when I was 17, my school organised a 24-hour football marathon in support of the children of Chernobyl.
Did you play in the football marathon?
I not only played in it, Ben, I helped organise it.
Oh.
It was, we raised £5,000.
Michael Leonard helping the boys over in Chernobyl.
And I had sore legs for about 2 weeks because I didn't play football.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
Sounds awful.
But it was big news, Chernobyl. It still is. I mean, I think worldwide nuclear power would be a lot more prevalent if Chernobyl hadn't happened.
Yeah, you needed that catastrophe.
Because it was a big catastrophe and the Russians lied about it. But Ben, you have to if you're a fan of science fiction in the strictest terms, by which I mean fiction about science, get in there and watch it.
My brother, noted brother of the co-host Ben on the podcast, my brother Luke went absolutely wild for it. My brother is a little bit different from other brothers that have been mentioned on the podcast in that he does have very good taste, but he's very hard to please. And he watched the whole series in an evening because my brother doesn't like sleep, you see.
Well, Ben, he didn't because it hasn't finished yet.
Well, he's watched whatever came out up until now in one evening. And he just came down. He literally came into me at about 4 a.m. in the morning when he was getting up for work because he works a very early shift. He's like, "Here, Ben." I was like, what do you want?
What are you waking me up for?
And he was like, "Yeah, you know that Chernobyl show, do you?" And I was like, yeah. He goes, "You need to watch that, yeah." I just closed the door and went off to work.
It's dead good. It's dead good, Ben.
That's Luke's 4 a.m. review. And if you get a 4 a.m. review from Luke,
that's
fucking good.
I'd say watch it, Ben. It's very good. It has that guy in it. He was Moriarty in the Sherlock Holmes films.
We're doing real well on names today.
Jared something.
Jared something. You keep spinning your wheels there on Chernobyl, and I'll have a look.
It has him in it. It has Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh, I love an Al Stellan.
It has, and this is the only slightly worrying thing about it, is it has invented it's almost entirely real characters.
Okay.
But they have invented a composite character of a woman who was the only one who knew what was really happening.
Composites are no good.
And she's not based on anyone, but they've somehow managed to insert a strong, assertive woman into 80s Russian Jared Harris.
Which isn't true. Strong.
I don't think women were allowed to be strong and assertive in Russia in the 80s.
Not in that
But anyway, it's not too jarring. It's only
Russia too?
It's only a little jarring if you know that most of the characters are real, but the one who's doing a lot of the heroics isn't real.
Is it Emily Watson?
It is Emily Watson.
No,
yes.
I don't like Emily Watson.
Look, she's very good in the series.
She's
Ben.
good.
The series is very, very good.
The Emily Watson I remember, and it kind of scarred me as a child, was from Equilibrium, where Christian Bale
does a gun kata.
Emily Watson have a little chat, and then Emily Watson gets burned alive with her paintings, and it's just very uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, because art's not allowed.
Art's not allowed, and she has a Mona Lisa in her closet. That sounds like a euphemism for something, doesn't it?
Does a
I have a Mona Lisa in my closet.
But Ben, look, get on the Chernobyl. It's bloody horrific, and if you want to enjoy a real horror. It's a horror show.
Yeah,
it's basically a horror show. It's very strong. Strong performances.
It's one of those awful things where you occasionally remember, oh, this happened.
It has the young guy from Liverpool who was he was in that Irish Rambo film we saw.
Adam Negatus?
No, he was.
Robert Demis?
Yes.
Robert Ems. Sorry, Ems.
No, maybe not. Remember him? He was in the Irish Rambo film. He's a young fella.
Oh, your man. Yeah.
He's a young fella. What was he in? He was in Dunkirk as well.
Oh, it's
he plays
Keown.
Yeah, he plays traumatized soldiers.
Pavel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Barry Keown.
He plays a traumatized soldier.
Pavel.
Yeah. Pavel.
I know that.
And they don't do Russian accents.
Well, that's
strong.
That's better.
It's
I'll
good.
take that. That's a good choice.
Yeah, it helps you not be taken out of film that nobody is talking like this.
Because too many people, when they do Russian, do this.
Yes, no good to say Chernobyl reactor number 4 has not exploded.
That was very loud. Sorry to anyone who's listening to this on the Monday morning commute. Oh, there is no Monday morning commute.
Well, there is in every country except Ireland, basically. We're having our bank holiday this weekend, but the rest of the world is having it last weekend.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Benjamin, anyway, look, it's good. Watch it.
I'll do that, so.
Ben, we went to see, just the other day, on our new tradition of a Wednesday evening,
You're a real prick for doing that.
we went to see Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Is it called Godzilla 2, King of the Monsters here, or is it just called Godzilla King of the Monsters? In some countries, it's called Godzilla 2, King of the Monsters. We went to see Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Ben.
Yeah.
First of all, tell us briefly what it was about.
Look, after the events of Godzilla 1, 2014...
Prince of the Monsters.
Aspiring authoritarian figure of the monsters.
Yes. Democratically elected president of the monsters.
Categorically untrue. It's very authoritarian, the kaiju hierarchy.
Yes.
But anyway, look, the world has now discovered more kaiju.
Or has always known. Winky winky.
Winky winky. And the shadowy government, not government organisation, Monarch, has been tracking them down, locking down the sites where they exist.
Yeah.
And the world is a-changing because Godzilla's woken up and now all the other kaiju are waking up. And unfortunately, there's one big bad kaiju that's out there and he's a challenger for Godzilla's alpha status.
Yeah.
And it all kicks off when an eco-terrorist organisation led by Charles Dance.
Charles Dance, for some reason.
Who's really phoning it in.
He really is.
He gets his hands on that big bad alpha competitor, and that's
when it starts.
That's the end of
and
it.
then the monsters all have to do a fight.
And the monsters all have to do a fight, and look, it's classic Japanese kaiju stuff.
Ben,
with an American accent.
I'm glad you said that because it really, really is, classic Japanese kaiju stuff. If you harken back, Ben, harken back there. Very good. Harken back to the first one. The first one starring Aaron Taylor-Johnson.
And not Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston is in it.
But he didn't star in it.
But the first one starring Alan Taylor-Johnson and Bryan Cranston and Scarlett Johansson. Not Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson.
What's her name? We talked about her last week. The most attractive of the twins. We're terrible at names.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Elizabeth Olsen, yes.
We have weird standards for how we remember people. There's a sexy witch. It could be any of the sexy witches.
Which sexy witch is it? Ben, that film was very much set in the real world.
It was.
Arguably to its detriment.
On occasion.
That it was set in the real world and it was how would the real world react to
an actual giant lizard monster.
Yeah, exactly. This film does not exist in the same world.
No, we've upgraded the technology. Yeah. We can exist underwater in icebergs. It's fine.
There's icebergs. There's big, huge... There's essentially a helicarrier.
Several.
And it's very much like the Japanese... What was the defense force that used to fight Godzilla or sometimes help him or sometimes fight him called? The Japanese Defense Force or something like that?
Yeah, something
like that. Or the Godzilla Fighting Force.
It's something to do with that.
That exists now.
It's Monarch.
And Monarch has always existed. Where were they last time with their flying ships and their submersibles?
I think as a sequel, they've just added too much. Look, it's a very enjoyable monster mashup.
Is it?
Apart from the shaky cam. A lot of shaky cam.
Why do you do a shaky cam, Ben? Why do you need a shaky cam when you've got monsters? You could just set up a tripod several kilometres away and let them fight. Let them fight. Like John Wick.
Yeah. Oh, John Wick versus Godzilla. I'd watch the shit out of that film.
My money be on Godzilla. I don't think John Wick has any specific defense against radioactive blasts.
He's got something.
Yeah,
he's got something up his sleeve. He's got something up his sleeve.
Iodine tablets.
He'd do an out roll.
He'd do a flip.
He'd flip Godzilla.
He'd kick him through the glass. Ben, here's another little criticism I have of it. If you remember, harken back, Ben. Go on.
Diddly.
Very good. Godzilla, they changed the design of Godzilla. The American Godzilla doesn't really look like the Japanese Godzilla.
Not at all.
He's much more hench.
Yeah.
He's got the big shoulders.
Yeah.
There's a bit more gorilla in him.
Then there should be.
Well, I'm not saying that there should be, but then the Japanese one. The Japanese one,
gills. He's
got some gills. He's got the big hench shoulders. He's got a thick neck. He's more lizardy than man in a suit.
Yeah.
But they've stuck pretty close to the Japanese originals for the new monsters.
Yeah, they haven't changed a lot at all.
Exactly. They're just like King Ghidorah.
Oh.
Who's the three-headed thing.
Boo.
He's not as well designed as, say, the dragons from Game of Thrones.
Very sloppy design work overall.
He's got an underbite.
Yeah. The parts that... Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that. So obviously they've gone for a more actual animal anatomy thing with Godzilla, where he looks more like a lizard than he's ever looked before. He moves a bit like a lizard, especially when he's swimming.
Yeah.
He's got a real Galapagos iguana thing where he moves through the water and that kind of thing. And they just seem to have not bothered doing that with the rest of them.
No, the rest of them are just classic,
The rest of them are
rubber
classic
suit
kaiju.
men. Yeah.
And it's interesting. Like, I think the way I look at it is, Godzilla movies have always been B movies. That's the enjoyable part of what they are. They're over the top,
Go on.
ridiculousness
Go on.
that goes forward.
Yeah.
Generally let down by a lack of budget.
Right.
It would seem that this movie was trying to capture some of that B movie joy, but then decided to be a serious movie at the same time and use all of the budget at their disposal.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when people ironically enjoy those B movies, it's because they're kind of silly.
It's because they're hipsters.
And it seems like they're, well, there's also that, but it seems like they're trying to cash in on both things. They wanted to make a big Hollywood blockbuster, but they also wanted to be like a tongue-in-cheek kind of kid. And it's ridiculous. It doesn't, the two things just clash together in an awful way. Some of the dialogue delivered in that film, like, they've got decent people on board.
Vera Farmiga,
who has acted the shit out of things.
Yeah, I think she's
past.
been a sexy witch in something as well.
She's been an evil mother.
Okay.
In Bates Motel. So
right.
we don't want to go there. We're not going there. She's possibly been a sexy witch in something else.
I think she was in American Horror Story, wasn't she? In one of the series?
You're absolutely right. She was a sexy witch. Or a sexy ghost.
Or something. Some sort of
something.
sexy something.
Yeah.
There's Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown. Who...
Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby... when we're treating her with the utmost respect, Millie Bobby Brown. And then there are other actors who should not have been cast in a leading role.
Kyle Chandler, you mean?
Ooh, some of the dialogue there, some of the lines, son of a bitch.
I expected... So Kyle Chandler plays Millie Bobby Brown's dad. Spoilers, by the way. Here comes the spoilers.
Kyle Chandler plays Millie Bobby Brown.
Starring Kyle Chandler as Millie Bobby Brown. We have to get him back from the upside. No, I can't do it.
Yeah, good effort though.
Anyway, look.
Sorry, full spoilers from now on.
Yeah, look, we're going to ruin it for you. Kyle Chandler, terrible, shouty, angry dad, recovering alcoholic. When they pick him up, Ben, we see him photographing wolves, and he appears to be some sort of expert on animal behavior. Yeah, and when they go to get him, they meet him in a military helicopter, and he doesn't really want to go with them. Yeah. And I was expecting them to say to him, "Damn it, Kyle Chandler, you're the greatest living wildlife photographer in the world."
Which they kind of did. They were like, she always used your prototype, but she said you were the real brains behind it. And that's one of the lines in the film. Basically, the central MacGuffin of this whole movie is a special echolocation box that lets them communicate with
monsters,
kaiju. Yeah. Okay, and Vera Farmiga is the kind of the real finesser behind it. She gives it an all finessing, and Kyle Chandler is the kind of the genius theoretician, and like
he's the best goddamn wildlife photographer I've ever met.
So he's photographing wolves when we see him, but he's also listening to the wolves. That's how he gets off. He enjoys listening to animals just go about their day.
But they really let him take over the military missions.
Ridiculous. Like, no protocol. No, you brought me in here.
And I'm the best goddamn wildlife photographer you've ever met.
And that's what it is.
And my daughter is on that plane. And if that was a wolf, I'd probably punch it. And I'm like, get off the fucking submarine, you dope.
You dope. And he's just let do what he likes. He's like, you brought me in here to do my job, so let me do my job. And you're just looking at him going, Kyle Chandler, why did anyone think you could lead a film? He can't. He's always been a backup actor.
He's TV's Kyle Chandler. Get him back on TV.
Put him back on TV. Don't get him back there. Send him back.
I liked him in that one where he got the newspaper.
What's that one?
The TV show where he got the newspaper. He got the newspaper a day ahead. Daily Edition. What was it? Was that him? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Look, Ben, what was I going to say?
There's a shitty twist.
Ben, there's a mad twist. Guess where Godzilla's from, Ben?
Japan?
No, remember?
Well, I can't.
It's so absurd. You've forgotten it.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. He's from Atlantis.
He's from Atlantis, Ben. And then they blow Atlantis up.
Oh, No, they just destroy the greatest archaeological find of all time.
He's from Atlantis, Ben.
He's from Atlantis. They blew up his house.
They blew up his house. He won't be able to go back. But the best, I love the fact that just casually mid-film they discover Atlantis. No one says Atlantis by way of, I assume, reducing the absurdity of finding Atlantis.
The best thing about that film, to my mind, is almost certainly noted character actor Bradley Whitford.
Who is he?
He was the bad guy in Get Out. He's
the scientist.
The evil dad, yeah. The evil dad. He's in everything. He was in Cabin in the Woods.
Yes, as an evil scientist.
He pops up in everything because he's a noted sci-fi kind of golden boy.
I didn't find his character enjoyable, to be honest.
He's very snarky, but it seemed to me like he's the most normal part of the reaction to this movie, where it's like, you know, Kyle, what's his name?
Kyle Reese.
He's like, open the shutter door, and he's like, can we not open like the only protection we have from the giant lizard monster?
But then he was right, because he's the best goddamn wildlife photographer you've ever met.
He tries to out alpha Godzilla by standing in front of him as Godzilla swimming before him, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, it's a bizarre bit.
What are you talking about? Like, somehow Kyle earns the respect of Godzilla by sticking his chin out a little bit and being like, listen.
Listen to me.
Listen, you big lizard,
you
son of a bitch.
I've got a Hitachi 3-4 lens attached to my... I don't know anything about photography.
There's a lens measuring competition.
But look, Ben, it's not great, is it?
Ken Watanabe is the most racist.
It's Watanabe.
It doesn't matter. He played
Ken whatever I want to be.
It's a phoned-in Japanese, like, where he's the only character in the entire film who says Gojira.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who's like, we must save Gojira. And he just does this. That's all he exists to do, is say the word and say, no, we have to.
It even has something I hate in films, which is the pointlessly noble self-sacrifice.
Pointlessly noble self-sacrifice. Where he it doesn't matter. We can't get into it. I'm just going to go full. Some of the better things about the film.
Yeah, go on.
Let's take a look at those.
The special effects were good.
The special effects were quite good.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the early animal stuff. They did a little bit of interesting actual animal modelling for Ghidorah, where the three heads kind of snap at each other as if they're in a pack.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. But then they just abandoned that in favour of him being a big, scary, spooky
He's a big,
monster
spooky monster who can do a thunder and lightning at you.
Noted friend of the podcast, Shane.
Yeah.
Turned around to me in the middle of it because they go very heavy on the Satan end of days imagery towards the end there.
Yes.
Where he sits on the mountain of smoke and he just goes, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I do believe that's the point. I think
it was. It's quite heavy on the imagery and mythology.
Silly.
Ben, do you think that it was set in the same universe as Kong?
It's set in the same universe.
I know,
Kong.
Ben. I was doing it.
You were doing a bit.
I was doing a little bit
doing
there.
A bit.
Because they keep saying Kong.
Yeah, they keep saying, movement on Skull Island.
There's movement on Kong is moving on Skull Island, but they never show us anything.
So Kong is interesting because I don't think you could comfortably say that Kong wouldn't be an alpha.
Yeah, well, I think that's what the next one's going to be.
It's Kong. Well, it's slated. Kong versus Godzilla is coming in 2021.
This has made 175 million so far, so I'd say
good? For how much went in,
it's all right. Yeah, no, it's all right.
It's not making enough. Like,
no, it is. It's
that's what else we're gonna get.
It's doing all right.
So basically, in 2021, I'm gonna have to go at Wednesday evening.
Yeah, okay, Wednesday evening, 10:05. Ben,
Kong to me was the better film of all three of them that have come out so far.
It wasn't called Kong though, was it? It was called Skull Island, wasn't it? Or was it called Kong? Was it?
Yeah,
was it not called Kong Skull Island?
You're thinking of the Peter Jackson.
Is that the one that was called Kong Skull Island?
Yeah. This is. Tom Hiddleston was in that one. I love Tom Hiddleston.
Brie Larson was in
Riley.
it. You love Brie Larson.
Brie Larcy's. Look, it was a good film. It was a great film.
No, it wasn't. Look, I think you've got your rose-tinted glasses on there.
Comparing it to the other two, great film.
I quite liked Godzilla 2014. I didn't like Godzilla 2 King of the Monsters. No. And I was... Godzilla 2014 is my favourite of the three.
We were a little bit scarred leaving
in the Monsterverse.
Godzilla King of the Monsters.
It wasn't ideal.
It wasn't ideal.
Now, Ben, it's not a great film though, is it? But...
No, but from a purely... As a Japanese monster mash 'em up, great film. Go, enjoy... have it. But you won't be able to enjoy it ironically because they're making such an effort to be a proper blockbuster while simultaneously no effort to be a blockbuster. It's really weird. It's really jarring. Fucking Thomas Middleditch is in it as the most annoying CEO of a company of all time.
Who?
The guy who owns Monarch, who does the liaisoning between Monarch and the American government.
I don't remember him.
Yeah, he's the nerdy guy. Doctor whatever.
He's not the guy who owns Monarch.
He's something to do with
No,
it.
he's Kyle Chandler's replacement as the best goddamn wildlife photographer in the world.
You're completely misrepresenting his role in that film. Look,
O'Shea Jackson Jr. is in it.
Is that... Who's that?
Ice Cube's son.
Oh, it's Ice Cube's son. Yeah, he's the military officer.
Completely
somehow
wasted.
Survives
Completely wasted.
everything.
There's a... Yeah.
There's a weird scene where the female badass soldier gets injured.
Yeah.
And we have to do this for some reason. I was looking at this going, there's no stakes here. We've spent no time with this woman.
All we know is she's quite attractive.
Yeah, she's kind of sexy when she takes the helmet off. She does the traditional
Oh, she's quite attractive.
Oh, she's quite an attractive
took
lady.
that helmet off.
Didn't expect that from a military person.
I hope she recovers from her mild leg injury.
Yeah, and then we have this whole scene where we have to save her, and we tried to save Vera Farmiga's character.
Yeah, she deserved to die.
She deserved to die. She's the exact reason all this is happening.
Yeah, you can't just pivot and go and hope, and then we'll be like, oh yeah, I hope she does survive. No,
she didn't deserve to die.
No,
they have Millie Bobby Brown doing her traditional Millie Bobby Brown screaming face, which is just all Millie Bobby Brown does.
A lot of it, Millie Bobby Brown seemed to be cut because there was more of her in the trailer.
There's a whole scene in the trailer that we did not get.
Ben, anyway, look, let's talk about other kaijus.
So that got us thinking about what we're going to do this week, and this week we're going to take a look at all things massive monster related.
Yeah.
And kaiju the crap out of it.
So Ben, you lashed up a post on the Insta, and you said to the listeners, you said, or just the people who follow us on Instagram but don't listen.
The non-listeners.
Yeah, those guys. You said, what's the best kaiju, you son of a bitch?
I didn't say kaiju, I said monsters. So we got a mixed bag of review. That's probably on me. But anyway, do you want to talk about kaiju culture first, or do we want to talk about the monsters first?
Okay, talk about kaiju culture first. Go on,
well, basically it starts in 1954 with the all-American adaptation of the Godzilla film from Japan, which came out in 1951.
Right, we talked about this last week.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. But that was the dawn of kaiju culture. We see massive monsters duking it out. And for many people, they'll say, oh, I have no real interest in kaiju culture. But if you ever watch Power Rangers...
Yeah,
you do. You've been directly influenced by kaiju culture. That's where it all comes from.
Big giant monsters.
Big scary monsters in foam suits. Having a go.
Specific Rim.
Specific Rims is the name of the auto shop where Michael and I get our wheels detailed at the weekends.
Good. You don't have
Good
a car.
Shout out to those lads. It's a fictional bit, Michael. But yeah, so that whole culture is monsters going at each other. It's kind of massively influenced culture across the board. We always see little homages to them and things like that. Your Voltrons. Bloody Colossal with Anne Hathaway.
Oh yeah,
and Jason Sudeikis.
Forgot about
that. Was a strange kaiju mash 'em up, a little parody of the whole thing. Japanese culture is obviously massively influenced. You see it in Attack on Titan, actually, in the animes.
Yeah,
things like that. But it's just basically two massive monsters duking it out, and a lot of people don't really understand why we want to see stuff like that. And I suppose one of the things that Godzilla, the first Godzilla in the new run, 2014's Godzilla, did very well is the scale of the monster is very important. It's this massive thing that's just kind of awe-inspiring from any kind of level that you look at it, where you look at this thing and you're like, oh my god.
Look at the size of that.
Look at the size of that. That's not a normal size lizard.
I'm glad that doesn't have a willy.
Yeah, they never do they? They never...
Yeah, that'd be horrifying.
Yeah, that'd be awful. Just crashing into your building. How did he die? Ma'am, you don't want to know. Just, you don't want to know.
Let's preserve his memory.
And one of the weird things that they do is they do talk about kaiju sex a lot in Godzilla King of Monsters.
They do. Other intimate actions.
No need.
But Ben, you asked people what their favourite kaiju was. What sort of responses did we get?
We got quite a few responses, Michael. Again, I didn't quite nail my wording.
No.
So we got a mix of monsters throughout the whole thing. One of the classic kaiju that we got was Baragon.
Never heard of him.
Baragon is one of the classic 70s.
That's a herb.
60s. Baragon. Just add a little bit of Baragon.
Put a bit of Baragon, some nutmeg.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. We got some funny responses, of course, naturally, as we went along. Experiment 626, Stitch from Disney's Lilo and Stitch.
He's tiny.
He's tiny. He's not a kaiju. He is big in some of the TV episodes, though. So
Does
I'm going to include him just fine. He gets maximized.
Okay, fair enough then.
Interestingly enough, on a completely random thing, and taking it seriously in a way I probably shouldn't, the TV series Lilo and Stitch, where they had to. It turns out that experiment 626 is literally his number in a series of experiments.
Well, that makes sense.
So there's an experiment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they all escape on Earth.
Right.
And they have different abilities, and some of them grow to massive sizes, and some of them live in volcanoes and cause natural disasters and things like that. So it's interesting to see that culture is there.
I've never seen Lilo and Stitch, Ben.
Oh. But Ohana means family.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, well, it means something to some of the listeners. I guarantee there's at least 2 listeners that were like, "Oh, Stitch." We'll have a watch of that when we're
okay.
Yeah, we'll go have a look at that.
No, we're gonna watch Good Omens.
We got the classic. We got the classic kaiju ones. Mothra,
Godzilla,
Ghidorah, Rodan.
Yeah.
Rodan is the big flamey bird thing.
Yeah.
Mothra is the oddly moth-like thing. It's just a giant moth.
Moths, Ben. Formidable fighters. Moth. My cats chase moths every.
And those moths, they bash them.
I worry for the cat's safety every night.
One of my favourite responses was Michael at the Christmas party.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Friend of the podcast, OG Glop. Rachel.
I am a real monster.
You are a real monster. Ghidorah gets a lot of hype. He's terrible if you went to see this. He's just a very annoying thing.
I like Gamera.
Which one is Gamera?
He's a turtle thing.
Oh, yeah.
But he was produced by a rival studio to Toho Studios.
Oh.
So he never met up with Godzilla or anything. He was you know what I mean?
He'll probably work his way in here.
That would be good. I'd like that.
Kong, I'm a big fan of Kong. I just like the big monkey thing. It's, you know.
I thought Jaws was a good shout.
Jaws was a good shout from Noted Irish podcast, The Madness of Life.
Yeah.
And they actually sent us a lovely message being like, can we include Jaws? I know. Absolutely can. Jaws is a great shout. He would be kind of a good example of monstrous nature. That's what kaiju kind of are. They're just an aberration of nature. And it's something that we're familiar with seeing, and then it kind of grows into something horrible and horrific that we have to deal with.
You're an aberration of nature.
I am. That's what everyone calls me.
Jaws in a lot of ways inspired what was wrong, or what many people felt was wrong with 2014's Godzilla. The structures of those are quite similar.
Yeah, they're not dissimilar. Absolutely, we have a threat.
There's a threat. People don't believe the first person who kind of figures it out, and then the threat is kind of revealed very gradually. We don't see a lot of Godzilla
Horrifying.
on screen. Like the structure of Godzilla, 2014 Godzilla, is quite Jawsy.
Quite Jawsy.
Jawsian.
Ooh.
Do you like that? Do you like that?
Sold. Is
like
that what we're calling this episode?
Jawsian. Jawsian monsters.
Jawsian monsters.
I don't think it's clear that's about kaijus.
I don't think that matters. But in terms of, you know, what they represent, originally, as we've spoken about before, it's this element of messing with nature or not understanding certain things about nature. Jaws taps into that primal fear of the ocean. And what lies beneath, what lurks in the depths. Thalassophobia, I think is what it's called. And I used to have a severe case of thalassophobia when I was a kid, because my dad thought it'd be funny to let me watch Jaws when I was a kid.
It's a good egg.
So I have a real panic aversion to deep water. And it took me a long time, because I used to be a lifeguard, to get over that fear.
Very few sharks in Ireland.
Deep water. Yeah, no, I know. We are set to have more, though, apparently. That's something I wanted to ask you, Michael. As a recovering biologist,
yes,
how did you feel about the pseudoscience of Godzilla?
Dreadful.
The whole alpha culture.
Yeah, I think at one stage there was something that annoyed me about radiation, actually. What was it? Did they say something about...
You won't be able to stand it, or I put a mix of gas in to help you stabilize.
No, I mean, it was something about the radiation is going to reach critical mass or something. But
it's for Godzilla, for how he's going to... So basically, one of the central... How he wins against King Ghidorah is he's overpowered.
He absorbs a nuclear bomb.
He absorbs a nuclear bomb,
then some of Mothra's life force.
Assuming she can do that, she's been shown to do that. In
she's not real,
movies.
Ben.
I think one of the interesting things is that a lot of that movie is banking on callback references to movies people definitely haven't seen. For example, that plot where he's overpowered is the plot of 1988's Japanese Godzilla film. I think it's King of the Monsters, and that's where the Japanese fighting force that helps Godzilla kind of comes in, and they've just directly taken that plot and used it to push forward.
I think they know that people haven't seen it, so they're hoping it feels fresh and new.
That's a lot of bollocks.
Benjamin,
yeah,
your favorite kaiju film is 1998's Godzilla.
That's not true.
That's
the best part of it, is the Kashmir Puff Daddy remix. I bought
Come with me.
I bought that on CD, and my poor dad I played it in the car all the time. I was literally, at the time, I was 7 years old, and I found this thing, and my dad, to his credit, said, "You know, that's a very old song, son." And I was like, "No, it's not.
It's not his new song with Puff Daddy.
Godzilla.
Puff Daddy. He's
Godzilla.
my friend Puff Daddy.
My voice wasn't that deep though, so it was more like Godzilla. And he was like, no, it's a Led Zeppelin song. I was like, shut up, Dad.
Shut Dad.
You
You're
don't
the
know
worst.
music.
You're the worst, Dad.
He does know a lot of music.
He's heard many songs. Ben, I watched Godzilla 1998, but the other day.
Oh, you
And
poor soul.
Ben, I'm here to tell you, that was the thing that upset me about Charles Dance's lines. Charles Dance played an English character,
Such a waste.
and he said something like, "I'm here to tell you right now." There's no way an Englishman in the 70s would say that.
I'm here to tell you right now.
Yeah,
No, he wouldn't.
that is a 30-year-old American has written that line.
He's also a decorated military soldier turned eco-terrorist.
Military
He has a
soldier.
lot of discipline.
Ben has just said military soldier, ladies and gentlemen.
Did I?
Yeah.
Decorated military
Man.
official?
Man?
Yeah, he's a decorated military man. He's got no discipline.
No discipline.
He's just this cranky dude. Like, no strategy.
No.
Nothing. He's like, Vera Farmiga turns around and goes, "This isn't going to plan." He's like, "Well, it doesn't matter. It's in motion now." I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not how.
You're not leaving this base, Vera Farmiga. Yes, I am. Okay, go
Okay,
on then.
let
Go
her
on
go.
then. Off she goes.
We have what we need.
Toddle off.
And you're just like, where's that coming from? Anyway, sorry, we're drifting back. 1998
I watched 1998's Godzilla, Ben, but the other day.
with noted manslaughter enthusiast
with
Matthew
the
Broderick.
real monster, Matthew Broderick.
They're Northern Irish people. I never knew that.
Yeah, he killed a few people in a car accident. Ben,
Son of a bitch.
we probably should stop bringing it up. It's a bit grim. Anyway, Ben,
It's a real bad
the
name.
real weird thing about that film is he's very sexy in it. I mean, he isn't. He's a little short guy. He's
supposed
a little
to be.
Weasley man in a beret.
He's supposed
But
to
all of
be.
the lady characters who meet him are instantly wooed. It's quite odd. People see him on screen and go,
like
"Oh,
Ferris Bueller.
he's so handsome." He's like,
Ferris
he's not.
Bueller
He's
effect.
Matthew Broderick. Ben, I enjoyed 1998's Godzilla more than Godzilla 2 King of the Monsters. Does that mean I have bad taste? Possibly.
I think it's probably because you can appreciate it from an ironic distance, Michael.
I wasn't really appreciating it from an ironic distance. It's just not. I don't think it's as bad as we remember.
Why?
It's a 90s disaster movie. One of the weirdest lines in it is, "This is the worst thing that's happened in New York since the World Trade Center bombings." Not the World Trade Center attack, because that hadn't happened yet. The
Oh.
World Trade Center bombings from a few years before that.
Oh.
So they didn't even know what was to come. But it's an all right Godzilla film.
It's a great poster.
It's a great poster. I think that the lizard was cool. I think the
The
worst,
design was interesting.
the worst crime that it commits is it's not a Godzilla film.
No, it's a big giant monster film.
It's a big giant lizard in New York film with Matthew Broderick inexplicably being the best damn worm guy you've ever seen.
For fuck's sake.
But Matthew Broderick is a lot more likable than whiny Kyle Chandler, that's for
Kyle
sure.
Chandler's no fucking good.
And it's a military versus the giant lizard film, and it's mostly fine.
Very lizardy.
He's very lizardy, but the special effects, even though it was 1998, aren't horrible.
I think it's the baby Godzillas.
Well, that's where I was going.
Yeah.
You have to remember about this, Ben. Very much inspired by Jurassic Park.
Yeah, they were trying to make that Jurassic Park money.
That's what they were doing. They were trying to make that Jurassic Park money with the Godzilla name.
Because he's more dinosaur than any Godzilla prior to him.
He's a very Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he has 200 babies, and we spend the third act of the film forgetting about the fact there's a giant monster running around New York.
Yeah.
They think they've killed him.
But he's
And-
only gone under.
He's gone under the ground. But they think they've killed him, and instead we spent the third act being chased by velociraptors, essentially.
Yeah.
So
Through
it's-
the tunnels of New York.
Yeah, it's very Jurassic Park.
What I did enjoy as a result of 1998...
John Reno's in it.
Yes.
Everyone's smoking cigarettes.
He was, and it's perfectly fine, because it's the 90s.
That's a weird thing about Chernobyl, actually.
Everyone's having a puff.
Yeah, everyone's all like, we were very worried about everyone getting cancer, and then they light a fag. It's actually very funny.
Yeah. One of my favourite things to come out of 1998's Godzilla film is the TV series that was based directly on that, where they did have a sexy Matthew Broderick. But he was a cartoon character. Same character, but much sexier this time, with a much deeper voice played by the voice actor.
Nico Totopoulos.
You got to see basically Godzilla versus everyone. Great little kaiju series out of nowhere. Like, very poor 90s animation, but it was essentially Matthew Broderick's character
Nico
taming
Totopoulos.
Godzilla, turning. That's it. Yeah. Taming.
I watched it yesterday.
Oh, you watched it as well.
Don't be too surprised.
Taming Godzilla to be his attack dog, and then just seeing him sent up against creatures that were exposed to gamma radiation or whatever the equivalent is for Godzilla.
Gamma radiation's real.
No, but I don't know whether that was the actual radiation. I don't know if they made up a radiation for it.
The jarring difference between 1998's Godzilla and 2014 Godzilla is 1998 Godzilla is pure science fiction. There's no mythology whatsoever.
Yeah, you don't need it.
He was created by French nuclear tests in Polynesia.
Done.
And that's it.
Job.
There's no natural order. It's just pure sci-fi. It's not as... He doesn't have radioactive breath.
Oh, he didn't have enough fire breath?
No, I don't think so.
An old toasty bun's breath?
Unless I stopped paying attention.
You probably did.
It's actually... It's not as horrible as I remembered.
His scream is also very good. The Godzilla scream from 1998's Godzilla is very good.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not a good film by any stretch of the imagination, but I enjoyed it more than
2019's Godzilla King of the
Monsters 2.
It wouldn't be hard, would it?
No. He's just a big giant lizard and he runs through New York. It's all right.
Anyway, that brings us to just about the end of that one.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
Yes, it does. What have we got left? What's this?
The best Godzilla film ever made, Ben.
The best Godzilla film ever made, Michael.
Why are you trying to wrap us up? We're only 49 minutes in anyway.
Yeah, we're getting close. I want to do me wrap up.
The best Godzilla film ever made, Ben, is... What's your opinion? Go on. If you steal what I'm going to say, then I'm going to stab you with this pen.
Nah, I'm gonna lash it up to Kong.
Ben, the best Godzilla film ever made is 2008's Cloverfield, and I will fight any man who disagrees. That's a legitimate open challenge. Any man who disagrees.
It's going to bring a lot of weird people to the dining room.
Go on. Have you seen Cloverfield, Ben?
Yes, of course I have.
It's
got parasite type things.
Well,
shit out of me.
This is where I was going to go. That it suffers from that same issue of 1998's Godzilla of feeling the need to
crap out of it.
No, feeling the need to have something human size show up to present a much more personal threat.
Yeah, poor Zooey Deschanel.
Zooey Deschanel's not in it.
Wait, who's that woman then? Damn it.
It's Lizzie Kaplan.
Yeah.
Lizzie Kaplan does not look dissimilar to
edgy Zooey Deschanel.
She has a fringe and big eyes, so I mean, it could have been Katy Perry. It could have been my good lady friend. It's any number of those women. But I see where you're going. But yeah. They all suffer from a kind of an American. I think it's an American need.
Don't we all suffer from American needs?
Don't we, Ben? Don't we? They suffer from an American need to personalize the impersonal. The threat of the kaijus is usually very impersonal. They're very rarely out to get a specific person.
They don't give a shit.
They'll just knock a building down and you're in it and you get squashed, or they'll stand on you while they're going to the beach.
Another flaw in 2019's Godzilla, where Godzilla suddenly gives a fuck about all the tiny little ant people.
Oh, you all right? You sound a bit upset.
No, I just want Godzilla to like me.
But Ben, Cloverfield, the monster design isn't that cool. It's a horrible looking spindly yoke. Yeah. But it's a great combination of genre and monster.
Yeah, it does the job. Also, you can't see it for a lot.
Exactly. It kind of jaws us a little bit where we see the effects of the monster. There's a slow reveal. But the found footage...
Hate it. That's what it introduced to the world big time.
What did?
Cloverfield is like a big watershed moment for shaky cam, faux documentary footage, found footage. Like that was always a thing with the Blair Witch Project and so on and so forth. But it was always done on small independent films. But now, all of a sudden, blockbuster-wise, Cloverfield introduced this new thing of, we don't necessarily need a steady camera.
But Ben, that was the point.
I know, but I hate what it did.
I think it was great.
Look at what... No, it was great in that. Then everybody copied it.
Well, Ben, we talked about this before, that copying something without understanding why it was done does not... look at all the ways The Matrix was copied, and the movies that copied The Matrix were terrible, but The Matrix was still great.
Yeah, true.
And where else? What else did we talk about that? We talked about that from another perspective as well.
Lord only knows. It's 103 episodes in, Michael. We've talked about a lot of stuff a lot of times.
Yeah, but look, Cloverfield's bloody brilliant. Go watch it. It suffers. It does suffer a little bit from having to have human-sized threats to make it personal and to give us something to run away from screaming. And the third act, when they actually find his girlfriend, isn't as amazing as the build-up and the initial worry, because it becomes a tower rescue film, and it's you could take or leave it. Yeah. But look, Ben, it's still the best Godzilla movie ever made, and I'll fight any man who disagrees.
Well, with that ominous threat, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to come and challenge Michael to Kaiju Supremacy,
TJ Miller is in it.
I'm going to film it from the noted bad egg TJ Miller, who getting in a lot of trouble lately for sexual harassment. Don't go loud on that one.
He's just in it. That's all I'm saying.
But anyway, I'm going to film that fight from the ground up, so it looks like it's an
great
actual
idea.
Kaiju fight.
Great idea.
So just be ready to sign a release form, and we can watch you duke it out, Kaiju style. I'll put sound effects in and everything. Be great out time.
Do you think there's anyone in the 2019 Godzilla King of the Monsters who could present any sort of physical threat to me? Ken Watanabe? Millie Bobby Brown?
Ken Watanabe would probably submit to you because he's a very submissive man.
He's very submissive, and he might do a noble sacrifice.
McJudah. And he'd be like, no.
Yeah, no, I'll happly. Charles Dance is pretty big, but he's old.
Yeah, but Charles might be sneaky. I don't know. He could have some quick little throat jabs.
70-year-old man. No, we'll be all right. We'll be all right then.
Vera Farmiga might pull a fucking twist and.
Oh, it's a twist! She was the baddie the whole time. Now she's a goodie.
Millie Bobby Brown.
She's a child.
You could barely
teenage girl.
Demolish that. Ice Cube's son.
Oh, he's a big lad.
Ice Cube's son. He's got some heft.
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Yeah, maybe Godzilla. Maybe Godzilla might have a bit of a threat going.
Godzilla would definitely beat Cloverfield. But Cloverfield.
Do you reckon?
Cloverfield was a baby though.
Oh, was he? I didn't realise that.
Yeah, he was a baby.
Yeah. Don't watch the other two Cloverfield films.
They're no... Well, the one Under the Ground is great.
Oh, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great film.
Fair.
It's not a monster film though.
No.
But it's a great film. The monster in that film is John Candy.
John Goodman, I think. You're referring to. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, on that bombshell, let us know, do you have a favourite kaiju? Did we miss any today? Did you enjoy 2019's Godzilla King of Monsters? We didn't. But let us know down below. Do you want to fight Mick? Send us an DM there. We'll set it up and film the whole thing.
Oh, but only if you're defending the honour of Godzilla movies other than Cloverfield.
Yeah,
I don't want to just fight anyone for no reason.
Anyone for no reason. Don't lie, Mick. You'd love to fight anyone for any reason.
No.
We want to thank everybody who wrote into us on Instagram this week. We appreciate the feedback. It's always good to get. As always, we are on Instagram, as previously mentioned. We're on Spotify. We're on SoundCloud. We're on iTunes. If you could take the time and give us an hour review
us on iTunes there. It's one of the best things you can do.
It's still one of the best things we can do. If you're enjoying the content, give us an hour review. Doesn't have to be super nice. Just chuck the stars up on the
5 stars.
Just chuck the stars up on the thing. You don't have to write an essay. We don't expect essays.
Just chuck up 5 stars and challenge Ben to a fight.
And please omit to mention any of my racist tendencies, my homophobic tendencies,
my
funny. Misogynistic tendencies.
I like when
just
people
keep it light. Keep it light and breezy.
Light and breezy. Tell them about the website.
Oh yeah, sorry. We now have a website, as Michael subtly inserted there. Go check it out. It's SeanRebuke.com, where you can see what we're up to. There's a couple of blog posts. We've had some guests in the tiny room. And if you haven't had enough Michael and Benjamin's podcast this week, that's fine. Michael and Benjamin will be back this Wednesday the 5th of June, where you can hear our new Collecting Issues episode, where we discuss Descender by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen.
It's pronounced Win. It's Win, Ben.
Win? Is it Win?
Win. Just Win.
Win. Justin Win. No, damn it. Jeff Lemire and Dustin Win. There we go. Nailed it. So you can pick up your copy and talk to us on Wednesday. Bye.
Bye. See ya.